Mr. Speaker, in the midst of a generational youth unemployment crisis, this Prime Minister has a message for young Canadians to keep sacrificing. After 10 long years of Liberal failure, he's asking young people, the very generation crushed under the weight of his economic mismanagement, to make even more sacrifices. But what more is there left to give? Young Canadians have already sacrificed the dream of home ownership. They've sacrificed with a summer of no jobs. They've sacrificed at the grocery store with skyrocketing food costs. And now, the same out-of-touch Liberal Prime Minister is asking them to dig even deeper, to pay for his record-breaking deficits, his anti-growth ideology, and his out-of-touch experiments in economic policy. Let's be clear. Young Canadians don't need another lecture from an out-of-touch Goldman Sachs investment banker Prime Minister about sacrifice. They need jobs, they need homes, and they need a future filled with hope. Statistics Canada has confirmed what every young Canadian already knows and feels on the ground. The Liberals' economic failure has created a deepening youth unemployment crisis. Now let's take a look at the numbers. In September, youth unemployment climbed from 14.5% to 14.7%, as if it wasn't bad enough. The highest level since 2010, coming out of the Great Recession outside of the pandemic years. Over 460,000 young Canadians aged 15 to 24 are unemployed today. Nearly 15% unemployment nationally and climbing. For students trying to balance school and work, it's even worse. 17% of students can't find jobs, and it's getting worse.
Sorry, I'm going to have to interrupt the honourable member. There seems to be a device that is on his desk, and it's causing a sound. If you could put it away from the microphone, it does interfere with interpretation's work. I'll let the honourable member resume.
And it's getting worse every single day. In Ontario alone, over 17,000 young people lost their jobs just last month. Ontario's unemployment has now topped 700,000, up 83,000 in a single year. In Windsor, unemployment has soared past 10%. In Toronto, joblessness is up 46,000 year over year, a record high. And this past summer, it was the worst in a generation. Returning full-time students face an average 17.9% unemployment rate, the highest since the Great Recession outside the pandemic. This isn't just a crisis, it's a generational collapse. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to split my time with another member. Young Canadians trying to pay tuition, gain experience, and start their lives have been completely abandoned by this Liberal government. Even educated workers, those who did everything right, who went to school, studied hard, followed the rules, are struggling. 1 in 6 workers with post-secondary credentials is in a job unrelated to their training. New graduates are unable to build careers in their fields. So I ask this Liberal government, how can you call it opportunity when no opportunity even exists? How can a young person believe in the Canadian promise when the path to success has been blocked by Liberal red tape, reckless spending, and endless taxes? This is not a temporary setback. This is a metastasizing crisis that threatens Canada's long-term economic future. A government that loses faith in its young people is a government that loses faith in Canada. And what caused this crisis? This Liberal Prime Minister and his decisions to double down on the very same failed Trudeau-era policies. It begins with their disastrous economic policy, a policy that drives away investment, kills small businesses, and punishes personal ambition. For 10 years, the Liberals have pushed anti-growth laws that sabotage the very sectors that built this country: energy, manufacturing, resource development, and more. They refuse to repeal their No New Pipeline law, the same law that killed billions in private investment and forced companies to flee south. They maintain a production cap that throttles Canada's ability to compete globally. They enforce a tanker ban that effectively blocks our provinces from exporting responsibly produced Canadian energy, while our allies depend on the exports of dirty dictator oil. Is that fair to young Canadians who could be building careers in engineering, trades, or innovation? Or is that just failure dressed up as virtue? Investment is fleeing this country at a record level. Business investment per worker has collapsed by more than 10% per worker under the Liberals' watch. Canada now ranks dead last in G7 for GDP growth, experiencing negative growth and the fastest shrinking economy as measured by real GDP per capita. And what does this Liberal Prime Minister tell Canadians? He says we need to sacrifice. Sacrifice what, exactly? Our prosperity? Our jobs? Our expectations? Our standards? Our hope? Let's remember what these numbers mean. Behind every statistic is a story. A young person whose dream has been delayed or destroyed. A recent graduate in Toronto forced to move back with their parents because rent costs more than their entire paycheck. A student in Windsor whose 2 part-time jobs just to cover groceries, but still unable to find meaningful summer employment in their field. A young couple in Richmond Hill who gave up on ever owning a home and starting a family because the down payment they saved up 5 years ago is now worth much, much less. This is the reality for millions. So I ask, is this the Canada our parents and grandparents built? Is this the country that once promised that hard work would be rewarded, not punished by Liberal policies? Well, Conservatives have a plan. Not more words that the Liberals like to use, but real action. And they have an opportunity to work with Conservatives. A youth jobs plan built on 4 key pillars to restore opportunity and rebuild hope. Number 1, we will unleash the economy. We will repeal anti-resource laws, cut taxes to drive reinvestment, and eliminate the red tape that is choking home building and business growth. Number 2, we will fix the immigration system. We all know the Liberals have broken the immigration system, flooding the market with labor and destroying long-held social bargains. We must fix the credential recognition and realign immigration with labor and housing market realities. Number 3, we will fix the training system. Federal student aid should no longer treat all studies the same. We are proposing that the Canada Student Financial Assistance Program provide relatively more support to students pursuing in-demand fields, determined based on objective labor market data. Taxpayer investments in education should prepare youth for jobs that are out there. Number 4, we will build homes where the jobs are. Employers trying to hire in regions with labor shortages face major obstacles because workers cannot find nearby housing. To fix this, we're proposing a 100% capital cost write-off for companies that build workforce housing. This powerful incentive will help small businesses and large employers alike to attract workers while expanding housing supply overall. That is the Conservative plan, a plan rooted in common sense and action, not bureaucracy and excuses. And what is the Liberal plan? Nothing but recycled announcements, photo ops, and programs older than the young people today. They point to jobs funds from the 1990s, duplicate old programs, and then claim victory while the crisis worsens every single day. They've spent billions on bureaucracy and have nothing to show for it. No new pipelines, no housing affordability, no youth employment gains. Meanwhile, young Canadians line up at food banks, delay starting a family, and lose faith in the system that no longer works for them. How can this Prime Minister claim to care about young people when every one of his policies make their lives worse? How can a government that can't permit a single project claim to support jobs? How can a government that taxes groceries claim to fight for affordability? How can a Prime Minister who has never missed a meal lecture struggling students about sacrifice? The truth is simple. The Liberals broke Canada's promise. Conservatives will restore it. The Liberals are saying that they're making so-called generational investments. Rather, we're witnessing a generational betrayal. This Liberal government inherited one of the most prosperous, stable, and opportunity-rich nations in the world and squandered it. They hollowed it out. They hollowed our industries, they demonized our workers, and replaced production and innovation with ideology and bureaucracy. They built a bloated bureaucracy and called it progress. And now the bills are come due, and they look to younger Canadians and the next generation and say, hey, you can pay the bill. That's not leadership, that's abdication. Our Conservative plan will be different. We will unleash the power of young Canadians, not bury them under debt. We will cut taxes so hard work pays off. We'll scrap the industrial carbon tax and cut taxes on home building so farmers, truckers, and builders can make life affordable again. We repeal the no new pipeline law, lift the tanker ban, and scrap the production cap so that Canada can once again be an energy superpower that provides good-paying jobs to young people from coast to coast. We'll reward hard work again, so we're not sacrificing to survive, but to work to thrive for a better tomorrow. Because Canada's best days are not behind us. That's what the Liberal Prime Minister wants you to believe. They're ahead of us. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Questions and comments. Questions et commentaires. The Honourable Member for Longueuil, Saint-Hubert.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am a little bit perplexed by what I've heard. The Conservatives are constantly voting against this government's programs to increase youth employment, to increase public safety. And the Conservatives, meanwhile, spent the rest of their time saying they want to increase youth employment. So my question, can my colleague look directly at the camera and say, yes, we are in favor of this?
Member for Richmond Hill South.
Mr. Speaker, I will look directly into the camera, and I know that Liberal member is a little perplexed. But guess who else is perplexed? Young Canadians. Because when the Liberal Prime Minister went to a room full of students and told them that they need to sacrifice more, that they need to lower their expectations, that they need to be content with less because the Liberals robbed them of their future, that room full of students and young Canadians all across the country who are watching, they're the ones that are perplexed. Why is my government working against me when they should be supporting me and uplifting the next generation?
Questions and comments. Questions et commentaires. Honorable député de Montcalm.
The Honourable Member for Montcalm. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In my riding, I see signs everywhere that say we're hiring. I have met with business leaders, people who work in all sorts of different sectors. I'm not discussing here temporary workers in the agricultural sector, that's clear. But these business people are concerned about moving from 20 to, well, they think we should move from 20 to 10% because they simply are not capable of finding employees other than temporary foreign workers. And they will actually close down if they can't. They won't be able to fulfill orders if they can't find these workers. So is my colleague's reality really that different from mine?
Hill South.
Mr. Speaker, I have some advice for that member. He should maybe stop parroting the talking points of the corporate lobbyists that are courting his office, because that's what it sounds like he's repeating right now. Because although that story sounds rich, but the numbers don't lie. From Stats Can, this is a government agency that provides these unbiased statistics. Youth unemployment up to 14.7%. It keeps going up. Highest level since 2010, coming out of the Great Recession. 460,000 young Canadians aged 15 to 24. Nearly 15% unemployment nationally. 17% of students can't find jobs. 17,000 young people lost their jobs just last month. And Ontario's unemployment has now topped 700,000, up 83,000 in a single year. So if that member has the guts, maybe he should go back to his riding, talk to some students, and repeat that story while these statistics, this reality is happening all across the country.
Questions and comments. Questions et commentaires. The member for Similkameen, South Okanagan, West Kootenay.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I thank my colleague for his passionate speech. So I think everyone in this House agrees or should agree that there is a deepening youth unemployment crisis. In September, the highest since it climbed from 14.5 to 14.7, highest since 2010. Conservatives have been sounding the alarm for years now, and the Liberals have ignored the warnings. Can the member explain again what he believes is the root cause of this youth unemployment crisis?
Good question.
Member for Richmond Hill South.
I thank the member for her great question. The root cause of this youth unemployment crisis is one person. It's this Liberal Prime Minister, because He calls himself a new Liberal Prime Minister, but he's just proven that he's another bait and switch. He's chose to double down on the same failed Trudeau-era policies of the last 10 years instead of turning a page and trying something new. You know, our Conservative plan will unleash the economy. We'll repeal anti-resource laws. We will fix the immigration system that the Liberals broke. We will fix the training system and tie foreign student aid to programs that are reflective of the market, of job market, and we will build homes where the jobs are. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker.